Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all my Cardfight Vanguard Lilfa deck profile for January 2023. This is one of the 6 decks we got from the latest Lyrical Monasterio booster set, a deck that focuses on having a good majority of grade 3s and 2s in your deck, focusing on a power option that lets Lilfa be able to give all of your grade 2 or greater units boost until the end of the turn. So with it, you can then have multiple grade 3s on your rearguard, or having more grade 2 or greater rear guards will allow you to then return cards and call them out using your main go-to grade 3 Vanguard, which is Highest Dreamer Lilfa. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the ride deck, our starter is Super Large Scale Newbie Lilfa. When this unit is rode upon, if you went second, draw a card. So just the standard starter skill, the grade 1 is Extra Large Room Lilfa. When this unit is rode upon by a grade 2 with Lilfa in its card name, choose up to one grade 2 card from your hand, or grade 2 or greater, call it to your back row center rear guard, and it gets boost until end of turn. If you called a card, draw a card. So it just gives you a rear guard that can be set up to boost your Vanguard, which will be a grade 2 unit, and the draw will make up for the unit that you also called out onto the field. Our grade 2 is Best Love Moment Lilfa. When it's rode upon by a grade 3 with Lilfa in its card name, choose one of your grade 2 or greater rear guards, and you may return to your hand. So that just gives you the option to call the unit that you called out with your grade 1 skill back to your hand for you to reuse for either another attack or another place on the field for you to boost. Our main go-to grade 3 in the deck is Highest Dreamer Lilfa. With this card, along with the copy we are running in the ride deck. I do also ideally want to run 3 more copies of this card. Sadly, I only have the 2 additional. I wasn't planning to fully build this card or have it be one of my main decks. It was just one I additionally wanted to add on to as a potential deck profile to make. So you will want to run 3 more, so you have the Persona Ride option with this card. And also on Vanguard, once per turn, you can Soul Blast 1 and all of your grade 2 or greater rear guards get boost until end of turn. And on Vanguard, at the end of the battle, this unit attacked, if you have 3 or more grade 2 or greater rear guards in your back row, Counter Blast 1, choose a rear guard, each from your front row and your back row, return them to your hand, and if you return 2 cards, choose up to 2 grade 3 cards from your hand and call them to an open rear guard. So with this, you have more of a setup to use for your front row to get multiple attacks and a potential booster with your Lilfa. Since she'll give all of the grade 2 or greater units you have boost until end of turn, it means you can just call out initial other cards to have a big attack go for the 4th attack with the cards that you already returned to the hand with Lilfa to begin with. For the other grade 3s, because we really don't run any grade 1s in the deck, the good majority of the rest of the cards will be grade 3s and grade 2s. For the grade 3s, I run 3 copies of Passionate Devotee as a reload. When this card is placed from rear guard from hand, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Lilfa in its card name, until end of turn, this unit gets plus 5,000 power, and if it's placed during your main phase, you can Soul Blast 2 and draw a card. So it really doesn't get the draw skill from being able to call it during the attack step, but then you still have the option of being able to have this card give the power when you call it out. So even if you Persona Road, this card can still have 28,000 from the front row alone that turn, and then just the additional draw when you call it out during your turn. But also if it's placed during the main phase, you'll have that additional option for the draw, but you do want to try and preserve some of your soul blasting for your go-to grade 3 Vanguard, because you want to be able to give each one of your units boost each and every turn. For some of the other grade 3s, I also run 4 copies of Splash Delight Persists. When this unit is placed on rear, if you have a Vanguard with Lilfa in its card name, you may Soul Charge 1, and this unit gets plus 2,000 till end of turn. So this is just another card to help with the Soul Charge power. I told you before, the Soul Blasting for Lilfa is very, very important. So at least you can use a grade 3, which will also potentially have boost, and with its plus 2 that it will get, be a 15k unit with boost on its own to attack with, or either go into the boost option for your other units when it's also called back to the hand, and then just placed on rear again. It doesn't matter when it's placed, so even if you bounce it back to your hand and place it again, you can keep the soul charging consistent for you to use the draw power with your Passionate Devotee, or just to use it with your main go-to grade 3 Vanguard Lilfa. And for some of the other grade 3s, I also run 4 copies of Early Afternoon Elegance, Racian, or Reclean, I believe is how you pronounce it. I believe that's an L. During your turn, this unit cannot attack the Vanguard, and it gets plus 10,000 power. So even if you do just use this card for a boost, it's a 23k boost on its own. If you Persona Road with another one, combined with your Sorel, if it has the plus 5 in the Persona Ride, that's 28,000, 23,000. You could hit for 51,000 altogether with these 2 units units if this one boosts your Cerulde on the rear guard for a pretty big powerhouse attack. And even if you do have to attack with this, if you're going for a rear guard, you can at least swing with this card at that rear guard for an additional plus 10k power. Moving on now to the grade 2s. I run 4 copies of Almost Late Prufla. When this unit is placed on rear, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Lilfa and its card name, choose a grade 2 or less normal unit with Lilfa and its card name from your drop zone, and you may put it into your soul. If you put it into your soul, this unit gets plus 5,000 until end of turn. So just another soul charge option. It just lets you add back the other parts of the ride deck that you may have already soul blasted out back in the soul for you to reuse as the soul charge option for your Lilfa, and then just be able to soul blast them out again with this card. So you have plenty of options, and for the fact that this card also gets plus 5,000 if you don't already attack with this as a boost, it could be 15k on its own, and then just provide the additional grade 3 for an added boost after you use Lilfa's skill. I also run 4 copies of the Hydrangea Awaiting Clear Weather Feline. When this unit is placed on rear by your grade 3 or greater Vanguard's ability, it gets plus 10,000 to end of turn. So it could be one of the cards you potentially call out with your Lilfa. Even if you don't use it for the attack, it can still provide a pretty good boost, having the plus 10 along with its own 10k power. But it is a grade 2, so if you want the intercept option, that's why most of the time I always call out Almost Late Prufla and then Feline to the front row while providing the grade 3s for the added boost for the units. And then for the last of the grade 2s, 2 copies of Favorite 1 Fleurette. If you wanted to increase the number of this card, you can always drop the number of Feline to 2 and then just run 2 additional copies of this card with Favorite 1 Fleurette. When the other rear guard is returned to your hand by your grade 3 or greater Vanguard's ability, counterblast 1, put this unit into your soul, draw a card, choose the 1 grade 3 card from your hand, and call it to an open rear guard. So if this card's on another rear guard circle, you can put it into your rear guard and have the 2 available open circles for your Lilfa to then be able to use the skill to then call to the 2 front row open rear guards. So when you have your Vanguard set up and after you put it into the soul, having those 2 front runs allows you to call out the 2 cards since you have to use your Lilfa to call them to open rear guards. So the grade 2 can provide additional open spaces for you and also give you the draw. And then for the grade 1s, the only grade 1 that I run in the deck is the Sentinel, which is Nocturne of Flickering Legacy Judith. So once again, it's not one you want to call out a lot. It's just one that you'll use for the guarding purposes. If you have the Elementaria Sanctitude, you can just take out one of the Sentinels for 1 copy of that Blitz order. And then for the orders, the only order that I run in the deck is 2 copies of Sweet Sweet. You play this card with the counterblast 1, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose 1 unit from among them, call it to rear, and shuffle your deck. It's just more setup using this order. It's preference. If you wanted to remove the order, you could just always take that out and put in 2 more copies of Favorite 1 Fleurette for this spot in the deck. But once again, just player preference with that selection. And then for the trigger lineup, going with the criticals, so 4 copies of Precious Tune and Wage, and also 3 copies of Wing Dancings in the Blue Skies Antia. For the 7 critical count, just for the added pressure, our draw triggers are Transparent Snowy Night Baratois for the one with the additional shield, and for our heal triggers, 2 copies of Hushed Diva Hortense, 1 copy of Two of Us Flow, 1 copy of Two of Us Rhyme, and for the over trigger, just the copy of Greatest Star Esperanza. They all share the same skill. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Like I said, I just wanted to cover another deck before the Minerva Rising booster set. And we were slowly getting through all of the many different Lyrical Monasterio decks from the latest set. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira Qualia out.